Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to the Tristcast. I'm your host, Tristan Dario, and I invite you to sit back, relax, catch a vibe, and enjoy the show. Hey, y'all, take a moment before you get settled. Follow the Tristcast and leave a rating. Alright, I'll see you in today's episode. Peace. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to another episode of the Tristcast. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope everybody is working to make their dreams come true, doing things that make them uncomfortable because they know it will help them grow. Today started out that way for me. I'm grateful to say that I am constantly learning new ways to put myself out there, to have to grow as an individual, to be myself, because it can be very difficult when you want to be able to say what it is you want to say or do what it is you want to do, and then you still got that worry in your heart. Is it all going to be worth it? Is it going to work out? Is it going to go exactly according to plan as I'm thinking inside my mind? No, it is not, baby. We're going to soon find out when it is coming to the things that we're making plans for that nothing really ever goes to plan. And that is the beautiful thing about life. And I forget it every so often. Not often enough. Not really, it doesn't really need to be often. It's kind of a reminder, in those random moments where you don't really see it coming. You feel like you have a feeling. Me, myself, I would say I'm connected more into my spiritual and my psychic abilities, And there has been some weird things that have happened in my life recently where I had a feeling that something was going to happen, or, I talk about something and then this person that I'm talking about comes up in my life. So weird because, especially within the last week, it really happened like 2 times and I wasn't expecting it, and it kind of freaked me out because there was 2 people in my life, more in my childhood. One person was a first grade teacher, and I was just talking to them, or I was just talking about them and how much they have helped me, or they were a huge impact in my life as a child. Since then, I have grown into the individual I am, and I held on to what I learned in that time of my life. As crazy as it is that I can remember that time in first grade. But I was talking to my brother about this individual. They were my first grade teacher. They were the person who brought it up to my mom that I had ADHD. And it ultimately changed the course of how I was going to go in school. Ultimately changed how I was going to be growing up. So, and as soon as I talked about them to my older brother and how, I started ADHD medication after that, and, after he had a parent conference with my mom, and they talked it over, he just passed away. And it's so crazy to me that, this is a person that had an impact on my life, someone who really was I've used the word before, but he was what set in motion my growth of ADHD, being diagnosed, figuring out coping mechanisms, how I'm going to grow as an individual with this learning. And at that time, it was seen more as a learning, disadvantage, but it's an advantage. It's constantly able to go, but it can lead to burnout if you don't have a good coping mechanism, you don't have a good understanding of what's going on. But, this gentleman, this person, I was just very shocked because it for me, it's kind of weird. It's kind of really weird to me because I'm having a conversation with someone about this person, how great they were, and how, they really influenced something into my life that ended up taking me on such a journey that's still continuing on now. And for him to pass away soon after, within the same week of talking about him, it just. And then I was thinking back on people that I went to high school with, back when I lived in Maryland a long time ago. And I was talking to one of my friends about this person, and 2 days ago I come to find out that this person had just gotten into a motorcycle accident and lost their life. And, that's so weird. God bless their souls, and I hope that they rest in peace because, it's weird. It's weird when you can think about these people and you can talk about these people and then out of nowhere, gone. Gone. Can't say hi to them. You can't go back to your hometown if you ever do go. I'm not saying I am going to go back, but thinking about, the last things I said. It's a funny way of showing you that you cannot even fathom how life works. And even though that you may have all these plans in your life, you may think all these things and all these great things are going to happen, you work towards them, and you just be a gentle, kind, loving, and compassionate person as much as you can. And you live your life following your heart, and you put love into everything you do, because we have no idea. We have absolutely no idea when it's going to just move on to the next life. That's what I believe in, Talked about it before, my belief in reincarnation and the never-ending life of learning and experiencing everything that life has to offer, and just throwing ourselves into everything that we possibly can, and following love, projecting love, no matter what. We cannot control everything. We talk about this often. But it's just interesting to be able to just I just found it interesting. And I thought it was weird. And it makes me want to be more intentional with my life. Especially when you think about people when you're talking, especially my first grade teacher, man. I was just like, wow. He couldn't have been that old, man. But at the same time, the hairs on your head are counted when you're born. Doesn't matter how old you are, doesn't matter where you are, doesn't matter who you are, it's going to happen. And I've talked about it before. It's been said on the Duncan Trussell Family Hour. It's been talked about on Midnight Gospel, Meditation is the preparation for death, and it's only one of the first ways to prepare for it. Understanding that it is inevitable. It is inevitable that we will have to move on to a different realm, and we will have to experience all of the things that we have known and learned throughout our cycle of lives. And to think about how, once we go from here, we pick up in another dimension, we pick up in another place, but it's all connected. And I think that is just bonkers. I've been thinking about the thought lately, when there's this old wives' tale that if you see a cardinal outside your home, that means an angel or someone close to you that passed away is near. And it's so crazy because when I think about how reincarnation works, that's actually interesting to think about. These could be your loved ones from your life who passed away, and they're here to tell you, I love you, or I'm thinking about you, or I'm protecting you. But at the same time, when consciousness as a whole is thought about, when you pass away, even if we don't reincarnate, I've had this random thought in my mind that I've thought about, what if, like, when we do pass away, like, people say, I want to keep their, mission going, or I want to live my life in their name because it's what they would want. When you think about what they would want, when you pass away, you don't you're no longer of this world. You're no longer attached. You no longer have that attachment. And as you're flowing up to meet God, the idea that you're not actually, you're so afraid that you're not going to have these people, you're not going to see these people, but then you're met by God and God tells you, listen, bro, you've done this countless times already. This is just another experience that you've got to have. And this is everything that you get to leave behind, everything that you've ever done. Every moment of gratitude, every moment of doing something kind, every moment of just doing something that you loved, that gets to flow away from you. Because if you learn to expand it, the people around you will have seen all of you. And they will be able to take that with them. Everything they learned from you, everything that they got from you, everything that they could potentially gain just by knowing you or experiencing your light, experiencing your love. These people get to take what they've gotten from you and move forward with it and share what you gave to them with so many other people. I read an incredible quote today. There are so many different souls that had to meet just for you to come to life. Think about that. People that you may never even know, people that you've never known in your entire life, but they are a part of the entire movement that led to the moment that you were conceived. And then you were brought to the world. And you may have not even met all of those people. And you may never. But just to think about that. Think about what goes around in the world and how this incredible universe moves, and what you learn and what you get to experience and how your perception gets to be altered. It just blows my mind. And I'm genuinely grateful. I'm grateful that I got to know these people, because these people that passed away recently, these people ultimately were, catalysts for how I was going to grow as an individual. One of them, I didn't have the best relationship with the friend who passed away from a motorcycle accident, but they still had an impact on my life to the point that it ultimately shaped me on the kind of individual I wanted to be. As a child, I've went through my own trauma and I was struggling doing my own thing. But what ultimately showed me what kind of person I wanted to be were my experiences growing up. And even now, I'm going through certain things that ultimately are changing me for the better on who I want to be and what kind of person I want to go out into, or go out into the world as. To finish that. Another thing is, we spend so much time, and I feel like I talk about this a lot, but, this is a personal thing for me right now. We can go back and forth on how much we, want to put ourselves out there and want to love, and we want to be there, and we want to express ourselves as we are. But there can be times of doubt or worry, or we can be so excited that our brain is going 100 miles per hour and we don't even know what to say to some people. And sometimes the only thing we want to say is, I love you. But even then, we sometimes get in that place where we remember what kind of society we're in, and not everybody accepts that. And I talk about how important it is that we embrace who we are. And, it's important to respect people's boundaries and not, put too much of ourselves out there. We have to be able to control how much energy that we put out and how much energy we allow in. Which can be difficult, because you never really know who it is that you're supposed to give yourself to. And that's why the idea of just trusting it and just throwing yourself in, it's like being afraid. To me, it's like jumping into a pool, not knowing how to swim, but you want to learn. Are you going to spend your time being afraid that you might just drown? Or do you want to take the chance on just putting that first hand forward and just trying, kicking your feet? Risks come in so many different sizes. And when we think about timing, or like, for example, you could be in a place where you're like, maybe this is the wrong time, maybe I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I have this saying that I really like to say, especially as of lately, and it's, there's no better time than the present to make your dreams come true. So even if you think that you're not saying what you're supposed to be saying, even if you think that you're not talking to the person that you're supposed to be talking to, even if you're not doing what it is you think you're supposed to be doing, embracing the uncertainty that whatever you're doing at this moment will ultimately catapult you into the most positive of directions is such a great way of seeing it. Because being afraid that you're not going where you're supposed to be going, or being afraid that you're not making the moves you're going to make, that's living a life that's not free, because you're living according to fear. And we can't do that. We can't live according to fear. We can't live according to who we think we're supposed to be giving ourselves to, or who we're not supposed to be giving ourselves to. Just embracing the fact that somebody wants to be in your life, embracing the fact that you have feeling for people. You could be questioning your entire self. You could be questioning if you're just imposter. You could be suffering from imposter syndrome, thinking that you're not even being who you're supposed to be. But what you do know within you is that you have a feeling within you. And you're just like, I cannot throw that away. You don't want to throw that away. You just want to let it out. Because who cares if someone doesn't reciprocate it? And I've talked about this. When you are putting yourself out there, and when you are being who you are, and when you are being your authentic self, and showing anyone that side of you, you're living free, completely free. You're free of anyone judging. You're free of any thoughts or feelings that could potentially stop you from who you want to be. Because but you could be feeling so worried that you're not saying what you're supposed to say. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. But the more you put in all of that worry, doubt, and overthinking, you're already taking yourself out of the idea that you could have potentially just been yourself and just allowed what was supposed to happen and not be in control of it. I think that has something in line with loneliness. We can get so lonely that we start to really desire a relationship because we're tired of being alone. We're tired of being around, the same old people that just don't bring us that joy or that feeling of being alive. And people can't give you that feeling, but when you meet certain people that make you feel a type of love, they don't make you, but they invite that feeling into your life. And then you start to feel alive. Like you start to feel that feeling of, oh wow, I am feeling pure joy right now, and this feels so good. And we can stress so much about how or what kind of person we're supposed to be that we forget that we're just supposed to be us. Beings of light and love and joy, sadness, pain, anger. That's why I really like angsty or like music that's about love and stuff like that, because I actually read something somewhere. I think it was a bunch of quotes or pieces of wisdom. I found it on a TikTok not too long ago, and it was basically, pieces of info that help you look at things differently. And I can't remember any on top of my head right now, but when thinking back on it, it's just very bittersweet. We think about these experiences, we think about the things that have happened. We sometimes sit on it for too long. But then we remember how we could have went about it. because we can be so worried about what's happening or how anything's going, or we can choose a different decision that could ultimately impact which direction we go from there. But that's the beauty of it. It's like we are one step away from possibly changing our lives in different ways. So embracing the idea that everything, not the idea, embracing the belief that everything is happening exactly the way it's supposed to be going at the exact time that it's supposed to happen. What's up, guys? Wanted to take a quick moment and invite you to leave a comment on today's episode. Tell me something about yourself, or tell me something about today's episode that you enjoyed. Peace. And that's what is, that's what gets you to stop for a moment and just think, should I just stop and just let it be? And of course we should. If it's something that is completely out of our control, obviously we should just let it be. We can't control it. We can't do anything about it. All we can do is just be us and embrace it. Embrace the fact that you might get your heart broken. Embrace the fact that you have to go through some sort of change to ultimately grow in a different way. Just do something that makes you feel alive. Even when you're scared, that is, like doing something that makes your heart race, and that at first you think, oh no, I'm nervous, but really then you find out, oh my God, I'm just excited. It makes you change your entire perspective on what it is you're feeling. Because if you can change the way that you may be feeling something, you may be feeling stressed and worried, but if you turn worried into I'm excited, you're ultimately going to enter different situations with an excited approach rather than being worried that it may not go the way that you're thinking inside your brain. My brain's working, my brain's thinking, my brain's, it's telling me this, it's telling me that. And then, the small voice in me is telling me, just be, dog. Take your hands off the controller. That challenge of taking your hands off the controller. I sometimes don't want to take my hand off the controller. Sometimes I think about the future so far forward that I'm starting to freak myself out. Like, why are you thinking this far ahead? You haven't even made it an hour in. I don't know. I just get excited. And I think about every possible thing that could be thought about and how it could ultimately change my perspective on going into or going out of it. When I could just be myself. I could just be me. And you can just be you. I read this quote a long time ago. And it said, the people that we come across, some people are going to mean so much to us, or people are going to impact us in such a way that we're going to put them into things, i.e., poems, books, movies, videos, screenplays, stuff like that. And, when you think about those kind of things, they say people that matter to you, or people that impact you, or people that, you love, or something like that, along those lines. It's the people that truly have an impact on you, and those people who make poems, books, when they make movies about certain people, those people live on forever. Because what those movies are about, the people that they're about, takes who they are as individuals and gives them the ability to live on forever through the work. I.e., there was a movie that came out that just won an Oscar, The Fabelmans. It's about Spielberg's Steven Spielberg's family, mother, father, and himself, and his way of growing up as he came into filmmaking. And just the idea of that. He made a movie about his childhood, his parents, the lives that they shared, and the lives that they had in their own separate areas. You you see how he was able to make his family live on forever through the work, and how much of an impact that's going to have on so many other individuals throughout life, because he decided to say, I'm going to put my childhood, my family into a movie, and they're going to live on forever through that. And that's what I'm trying to say by that. People can mean so much, but because people are afraid to say how they truly feel, that's another thing. When you're afraid to speak on how you truly feel, you're missing an opportunity that you may never get again. So my question is, what matters to you? Are you that afraid to be able to speak your mind? Are you that afraid to be yourself wholly? Not holy, but your whole self. Be you. Give yourself to people. To the people that you know deserve it, or that you feel deserve it, because ultimately they're going to teach you new things about yourself. They're going to show you so much more about what kind of person you may be just by in the experience you may have with them. It's hard to really be able to trust your decision making on who you know, because you may have trauma. You may have had so many experiences with so many different people that ultimately taught you, I have to close myself off to people. You don't have to. Take your time, do your healing, and make sure that you have taken care of yourself, so then that you are ready for another person, or to enter your life, or just to be your whole self and to be your authentic self. And that it doesn't matter what that looks like, as long as you feel good about who you are. But don't be afraid to take a chance. You never know who that person is. You never know what that job is. You never know what move you may make next is ultimately going to take you. You just need to understand that just taking that step and taking that chance is going to be more beneficial for your life than it would be to not make the decision at all. And instead of giving people the opportunity to close themselves off from you, take that opportunity. As I said, everything happens at the exact moment it's supposed to. Take that moment and prove yourself, and not only yourself, but prove them wrong too. People have these ideas in their mind. People will always have an idea in their mind. But acting on love and acting on good intentions, even if it may not be taken the way that you're hoping for, at least you were being yourself and you had good intentions. No one can take that away from you. You still did something that was for you and ultimately led you in a decision that ultimately helped you, taught you something, showed you something about yourself, showed you how courageous you are. Because instead of saying, nope, it's too late. Nope, I can't do that. Nope, that's not going to come out right. The more we stress about the things that we're doing or what it is that we want to do when it comes to these situations, we're never ultimately just going to be alive, and we're not going to just do it. Obviously, don't do anything that's going to put you at risk, or put your life at risk. Really think about that. But more so, when you're thinking about moves you want to make, things you want to do, you're going to spend more time questioning if you should do it or not than just making the decision, just going for it. And even if it doesn't go the way that you want it to, you still did it. And you get to have that with you all the time. That is a piece of your confidence. That is a piece of encouragement that you grew and that you have gained to prove to yourself that you can do it. No matter if it's going the way that you want it to or not. I was on the phone with one of my friends today, and they said, there's biblical scripture out there, I'm pretty sure, that says, with all plans that we make, God laughs at them, as if that we are going to make these plans come true. And then this friend also led me to the understanding that anything that is worth having is worth waiting for. And that's so crazy to think, because we can be so prideful in moments of our lives, and we can think that everything should go the way that we want it to go, and we can be rushing, and then you get to the point where you're like, I've learned to slow down. And even then, you never know what's going to happen. So just going and just doing it. Whether or not, you're scared or you're not sure, you should really do it. You should really do it if you're scared. And now, I'm not saying don't go and hurt anybody. Please don't go and hurt anybody. Don't take my words and try to spin that off in a way to fuel some sort of idea you got in your mind that, oh yeah, I'll go and hurt. No. You got to have love in your heart, man. You got to be open. You have to expand outwards. You got to let yourself out. You can't be afraid. And I think, even though that things aren't making sense all the time, or even though that we could be throwing ourselves in for our own, throwing ourselves in for a whirlwind, when we can just let go. That's what I want to do. Especially when it comes down to the things that I can't control. If I can control how I respond, if I can control, I can control how I respond and how I throw myself in, and I decide that I'm going to throw myself in. Regardless if it goes the way that I want it to go, regardless if it's not. I think that if I don't do anything at all, I'm really being selfish to myself. And that's how you'll have to grow away from that and learn. And at least I would rather, if I'm making mistakes, I would rather learn from them and just move on so I can do better in the future, obviously. But if I have the opportunity right now to do something that's going to make me feel alive, I got to do it. No matter if I'm scared or no matter how excited I am, that excitement's going to fuel me. It's going to fuel you too. So think about the people that you have around you. Think about how important it is to have these people around you. Think about what you can say to them today and how you can make them feel the love that you have within your heart. You don't have to do anything that is too much. Whatever you consider too much is what you consider. So don't do it. Do what makes you feel comfortable, but also take the chance it's going to make you feel a little bit uncomfortable. Because those chances that you take where they make you uncomfortable, where your heart's racing and you don't know what to say, you don't know what to do, just do something. In the past, I used to be someone who asks people what I should do. What should I do? What do you think I should do? And then they tell me what they would do. It doesn't always help. And that's not to say, that it's not appreciated or, we're not grateful for it, because we are. We're grateful for anybody who chooses to take their time out to help us in a way that could potentially help us. But how other people do things isn't always how we have to do things. We have the opportunity to do them our own way. So why think about how we can do something different from what is normal, or why think about doing things a way that isn't normal to us? I mean, it can go hand in hand. Because if we don't do something that's normal to us, maybe something that we ultimately learn that we could use in our a bag of opportunities, that's what I'll say. Ways to go into a situation even. it's weird to think about everything that we're doing, everything that is going into life right now. None of it makes sense. Life is so confusing. Damn straight it is. And it can be hard at times, harder than we think. Especially when it comes to embracing change, embracing the fact that we don't know what other people are thinking, what other people are doing. Embracing the fact that we just have to be within ourselves, be present enough to say that we're doing what it is that we want to do, and no one is going to stop us. It's scary as fuck, but if I did not chase change, if I did not chase growing myself, probably doesn't even make sense, but if I didn't care enough about moving myself forward in more ways than one, if I didn't care enough to put myself out there, I would not know the people I know, I would not have the experiences I've had, and I would not be where I am today. I chose to do something that made me uncomfortable. I chose to go somewhere that I did not expect would change me. I did something that ultimately helped me grow, especially in the moments when I tried to fight it. When we try to fight, it only makes the river harder to bear. But if we can flow with it, we get to learn some things that we ultimately had no idea we were going to learn. And that's what's beautiful about it is, with how life goes, even when we have no idea if we're going to be here tomorrow, we have the capability of living like it's our first day on the planet, taking in the smell of the roses, staring up at the clouds, rubbing our hands and feet through the grass, and embracing life as it is. Using our time to travel the world, using our time to put our love into the things that we love, putting our love into the people that we love. Sometimes it can be like I'm going from 0 to 100 when I say that. But at the same time, the right people are going to understand. I understand me. And I know what I mean. I'm not too much. Neither are you. None of us are. We all have the capability of being who we need to be or who we are. We have the capability of being who we are. And the right people are going to appreciate us as we are. And the right people are going to appreciate us when we are in their lives. And I think as crazy as life can be, and as I can be, so confused in my own path, confused by the ways that things come in, I can get distracted. Because my feelings are very strong. And that is something that, my feelings, people say don't follow your feelings, but as a person who does, I am very connected to feelings, and that is how I'm able to maneuver myself through what I'm feeling. And when I get a strong sensation, when I get a strong feeling in me, when I know that it's pulling me for a reason, all I can do is go for it. Even if I don't say what I'm supposed to say, at least I can look at the situation as, at least I did it. And I think that's a great place to I think this is a great place to take a chill. I hold the people that you love close and appreciate what you're doing right now at this moment. Even listening to me here at the Tristcast. Join this community with me. because I think we are gradually learning more and more what it is that we're meant to do here on this planet. And I think we're doing it together. This is going to be, this is going to be a great rest of our year. This year is an ultimate. This year will change us in ways that we have never foreseen. And this year is going to catapult us into the place that we have been dreaming for. And we're going to get everything we want. We're going to take everything we can get. And we're going to spread as much love, compassion, kindness, gentleness, joy, whatever, as long as it comes with positive intentions. It's coming to us. Everything that is meant for us is on its way. And I'm happy to share it with you all. I hope you all have a wonderful morning, a wonderful afternoon, a wonderful evening, and a wonderful night. Peace.